The containment field hummed with a pale blue luminescence as Warrenly pressed her palm against the scanner. Around her, the Galactic Council's biotechnology chamber stretched into shadows, its walls lined with specimens from 1,000 worlds, each one catalogued, analyzed, and categorized by the system, the ancient AI that had governed biological warfare protocols for 3 millennia. Subject identified, Warrenly Hansen, species human, homeworld, Earth, Sol system. The system's voice echoed through the chamber, devoid of emotion yet heavy with processing power that could calculate the trajectory of stars. Beside her, Cashton shifted nervously, his boots scraping against the polished floor. "You sure about this?" he whispered. "No human's ever been scanned by the system before. The other species, they're terrified of what it might find." Warrenly's jaw tightened. She'd spent 6 months convincing the Council to allow this scan. 6 months of proving humanity wasn't a threat, that they were just another species trying to find their place among the stars. 6 months of fighting prejudice from aliens who looked at humans and saw something wrong. "We need to know why they fear us," she said quietly. "Why every species we meet looks at us like we're weapons waiting to activate." The system's interface blazed to life, holographic helices spinning through the air as it began its analysis. Cashton watched the display, recognizing the familiar double helix structure of human DNA. But something was different. The system wasn't just reading, it was comparing. "Analysis commencing," the system announced. "Cross-referencing genetic markers with galactic database, predatory indicators, elevated, threat assessment protocols, engaged." A 3-dimensional model of the human genome materialized, but overlaid upon it were colors, reds, oranges, purples, each one highlighting different sections. The colors pulsed like warning beacons. "What's it seeing?" Cashton asked, stepping closer. The system's voice took on what almost sounded like confusion, an impossibility for an AI that had cataloged the biology of 10 million species. Query: genetic sequence displays markers consistent with multiple apex predator classifications, requesting clarification on evolutionary origin. Warrenly frowned. "I don't understand. What predators?" The display shifted. A section of DNA lit up in crimson. Marker Alpha. Persistence predation. Endurance hunting capabilities exceeding 99.7% of known species. Ability to pursue prey across extreme distances until target expires from exhaustion. Historical designation. Earth megafauna. Extinction pattern consistent with human expansion. Cashton's eyes widened. He'd read about it. How ancient humans had hunted by simply following animals for days until they collapsed. No other species had weaponized patience quite like that. Another section illuminated in amber. Marker Beta. Omnivorous adaptation. Capacity to derive sustenance from extreme variety of organic matter. Digestive resilience to toxins that would terminate most carbon-based life forms. Note: species consumes known poisons for recreational purposes. See alcohol and capsaicin. Warrenly couldn't help but smirk. She'd once shared whiskey with a Centaurian diplomat who'd needed emergency medical treatment after a single sip. Marker Gamma, the system continued, highlighting a purple strand. Pack hunting intelligence, social cooperation in pursuit of prey, communication sophistication enabling coordinated attacks against larger, more physically powerful targets. The colors kept coming, each one revealing another layer of humanity's predatory heritage. Binocular vision optimized for tracking movement, throwing accuracy unmatched in the galactic database. A cooling system based on sweat that allowed for sustained physical activity in conditions that would kill most species. Marker Omega. The entire DNA structure pulsed with a deep warning red. Contradictory impulse pattern. Species demonstrates both extreme aggression and extreme empathy. Capacity for violence coexists with compulsive caretaking behavior. Analysis indicates humans have domesticated former prey species, competing predators, and even, the system paused, themselves. The AI's voice shifted, taking on a tone that Cashton had never heard before. If he didn't know better, he'd call it disturbed. Recalculating threat assessment. Query escalating to primary consciousness. The chamber darkened. Every light extinguished except for the DNA helix floating between them. Then the system spoke again, but this time with all the weight of its ancient authority. In 3,000 years of biological analysis, no species has presented a genetic profile of this nature. Humans are not apex predators. They are the consequence of apex predators, multiple, competing, converging. Cashton felt his breath catch. What are you saying? Human evolutionary history suggests survival through serial extinction events, ice ages, supervolcano eruptions, solar radiation. Each event that should have terminated the species instead filtered for the most adaptable, the most resilient, the most relentlessly persistent genetic lines. The survivors bred, the pattern repeated. The DNA helix rotated slowly, each colored segment telling a story of survival against impossible odds. Humanity did not evolve to be predators, the system concluded. Humanity evolved to outlast them, to outwit them, to integrate their strengths and eliminate their weaknesses. The question is not, how many apex predators merged here? The question is, what happens when the species that survived them all reaches the stars? Silence filled the chamber. Wernley looked at Cashton, then back at the display. For the first time, she understood why the other species watched humans with wary eyes, why they hesitated to make contact, why the Galactic Council had debated for years before allowing humans entry. They weren't afraid humans were monsters. They were afraid because humans were what came after the monsters. System, Wernley said quietly. Threat assessment conclusion. The AI processed for a long moment. Insufficient data. Humans demonstrate unprecedented capacity for both destruction and creation. Recommendation, observation, cooperation, and hope. Hope? Cashton asked. That a species which domesticated the wolf will choose to befriend the stars rather than conquer them. Wernley smiled, placing her hand over her heart, a gesture the system recorded and flagged as significant. Then let's give them a reason to hope. As they left the chamber, the DNA helix continued to spin in the darkness, its colors painting the walls with humanity's violent, beautiful, impossible history. The system watched it for hours afterward, running calculations, building models, trying to predict what this strange species would become. It never reached a conclusion. Some things even an ancient AI had to admit were beyond prediction, especially when it came to the species that had made an art of defying extinction itself. Humanity was here, and the galaxy would never be the same.